Hello, friends. I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. And today I'm starting a new series that's kind of going to run for the next 5 months, I believe. And that is looking at the Board Game Geek Top 100 list, kind of 100 down to 1. And some of these might change over the course of the next few months. So we'll just kind of take it as they come. But what I want to do is look at the Board Game Geek Top 100 and give my thoughts on each game, whether I've played it or not, whether I want to play it, etc. And because we're going to talk about 20 games in this section, if you didn't already see, we're going to look at 100 to 81. And then in the next month, we'll look at 80 to 61 and so on down to the top 20. And just give my thoughts right now about these games. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the top, or I should say the bottom 100, or the bottom 20 of the 100 games. All right, so starting out with number 100 as of right now, and this is the middle of August. So again, these might fall off by the time next video rolls around, but we won't really look at this part of the list next time anyway. So really it'd be only the ones that kind of jump up and switch places with some in the next month or so that could see some relap. But anyway, we'll start with number 100, Lords of Waterdeep. And I really like the Lords of Waterdeep. It's a good introduction to worker placement game and a gateway between Dungeons and Dragons players and tabletop gamers. Good way to introduce them into this little bit of the hobby if they're not already in it. And I don't know much about the Dungeons and Dragons Waterdeep storyline. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons player. I never really got into it, but I did get into Lords of Waterdeep kind of in the middle of my getting into the hobby journey. Well, early part, I guess I should say, before I started really getting into it. So not my first worker placement game or game of the style, but I really do enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Lords of Waterdeep. El Grande is an old classic game. We're looking at 30 years old now. Wow. And I don't know a whole lot about this other than there's a little bit of a tower and cubes go in and cubes can get stopped. And you're basically utilizing that to take some control over certain areas, is kind of my understanding of the game. I don't know much about it. I've not played El Grande, but it is on my to play list. In fact, pretty much everything on the top 100 is going to be on my to play list. I'm trying to catch them all, I guess, if you will, or at least the ones that interest me at this point. It was a goal of mine to catch them all early on, but now I know there's some I'm not going to like, so I'm not trying as hard to play them. 98 right now is Aeon's End. I believe this is a tableau game of some sort with cards. I'm not sure. I haven't played this one either. I've heard good things about it, unless I'm confusing it with Mage Knight. But either way, this is one I would definitely check out. I haven't yet. Don't know much about it. Eclipse, New Dawn for the Galaxy. Eclipse games, I've heard a lot of great things about Eclipse games. Have not played this one either. But this one is definitely highly on my I want to check out list. I kind of like Civilization games, and I think this is along those lines if I'm reading the storyline here, build interstellar colonization or civilization by kind of 4xing too, but without the x's. So I'm interested in checking this one out for sure. I have not yet. Wingspan Asia I have played. I do really like Wingspan. It's a good engine builder introductory game. Asia introduced the new 2-player version of the game, the new solo mode of the game, which really caught my eyes. I really like everything that Asia brought to Wingspan as far as improvements for both 2-player and solo player of a classic game, Wingspan. A lot of fun. Let me scroll up here now. What number are we on here? 94, Fields of Arle. Did I scroll too far? 95. Fields of Arle. Uwe Rosenberg game. I've just now got into play some of them. It's another farming game. This is a 1 or 2-player game, so that right there interests me because it's not a game where I need 4 people to play. Don't Don't know a lot about it. It's another farming Uwe game, as far as I'm aware. I've heard good things about this one as well. I didn't really like Agricola. We'll talk about that one in the future, maybe later in this video. I don't remember. I kind of scrolled through earlier, but I don't recall what was where. Field Tomorrow, I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. And also, this one's already 10 years old too. Wow, that's crazy. 1 or 2 player game, Uwe, definitely interested in figuring out. A game I do really like is 94 now. Clank, deck building adventure. I really enjoy Clank. Basic Clank is the only one I've played so far. So as we approach the other ones, because I do know they show up also on this list, I don't have experience with them other than knowing I've played Clank and In Space, I should say. I really like Clank. A lot of fun. Push your luck going through deck building game. I really enjoy Clank. You should check it out if you like deck building and or push your luck. Darwin's Journey, a relatively new one. I have not played this one. I've heard, I think, mixed reviews on this one, actually. A lot of people really like it, and other people are kind of mixed on it. It never really caught my eye either, so I haven't looked into it a whole lot. I'd definitely be interested in trying it, but I haven't yet, and I don't think I'm going out of my way searching for this one either. Just, if I play it, I play it. If I don't, I'm not going to be super sad about it either, I don't think, at least until I start hearing more and more that piques my interest. A game I do really like, 92, is Revive, and this is a new game. I guess it's not as new as Darwin's Journey, so it's been a slower riser than Darwin's Journey. But everybody I know who's played this game loves it. I love it. Check out my top 50 from this year to see where it ended up. It was a new to me game last year, and it's on my top 50 right now. I'll say that much. If you haven't checked out where, check out my top 50 videos. But I really, really do like Revive, a game that is a bit of a card utilization for actions and then resource management as you're just going around doing all kinds of things to revive an area after kind of an ice age, I think, or you're landing on a plane. I don't remember the whole story, but basically you're exploring and building and using resources to collect points. A lot of fun game with mostly card action selection and resource management. Five Tribes, an old classic here at 91. I really enjoyed Five Tribes. It's one of the most thinky games, I think, because every person who takes a turn changes up the board state. And so every turn is going to take a little bit of processing, and that slows things down. But this is a game where you're bidding your points / money for turn order to get that key turn each round. And then each of the meeples that you're collecting are going to do things, and each of the space that you land on when you collect those meeples is going to do things. So every action has a couple of actions on it, and every action that somebody does, again, messes up the board state. So it's a really thinky game, really fun game, interesting game. Five Tribes, a classic, and it's on here for a reason. 11 years later, it's still hanging around in the top 100. Let's skip that ad. All right, number 90 here with Azul. Azul is a good introductory game you can find anywhere these days, Walmart, Target, whatever store you have near you. It's good game as far as you collecting tiles from one of the locations of all the colors of a certain tile and putting them out on your board. And then as you fill up your board, you're going to slide them over and score points as the right side of your board fills up. But anything you can't place actually goes to the bottom of your board and becomes kind of negative points. So you really want to manage your drafting so as to minimize the negative points and maximize the positive scoring points. That's a good little introductory game. It fits that bill, and we'll probably mention this again later if I recall. Great Western Trail New Zealand is a game I want to check out. I really like Great Western Trail. I have Argentina. I don't remember if that one shows up in the top 100 or not. I don't remember. I think it's the least well-liked of them. So I don't think we'll see that one again. That one is my favorite because it's the one I've played the most. I have played basic Great Western Trail once, Argentina a handful of times, and none of the other ones yet. But I'm definitely interested in seeing what New Zealand changed up in a game that I already really enjoy. At what are we at? 88, an old classic here, Race for the Galaxy. One of my favorites. Absolutely, a hand management tableau building race of a game where you're racing to be the first one to build your tableau or to eat the most points, and that ends the game. So it really is what it says. And the thing that makes this one unique and has been kind of used again is it introduced. I'm pretty sure it introduced the idea of you've got 5 actions you can take, but each player at the table is only picking one of those actions, and then everybody will take those actions in action order. So if you have a 3-player game and you all pick action 2, for example, you're only taking action 2. But if somebody picks action 1 and somebody picks action 2 and somebody picks action 4, you're all going to get a chance to do action 1, then you're all going to get a chance to do action 2, and you're all going to get a chance to do action 4. So it's a game where you're trying to manipulate or at least guesstimate what other players might do, because again, you're racing. And if you take an action, you're going to get kind of that action at a bonus ability. And again, that idea has been copied over numerous times. The flack that this one gets is that it's a bit of hard one to learn at first because of the icons, but it really isn't once if you get taught well, I guess, and you get used to kind of the icons, and the one that really throws people off is the trade action, I think, really confuses people. But once you grasp that, it really isn't that hard to grok. Next up at 87 is Blood on the Clock Tower. It's a deduction game, bluffing. I have no interest in this. I don't like bluffing games. I don't really care for deduction games. Dead players still play. Sure. I'm just reading the headlines. I don't know much about this because it never really interested me based on what I do know about it. Just because I don't like bluffing in deduction games. So if I play this one, it'll be at some events with a bunch of people and I'll play it once and probably be done with it if I know me. But there it is at number 87. 86, Kingdom Death Monster. I do want to try this one, even though I don't really like boss battlers and dungeon crawlers. Or I don't know if I like the theme of it. I heard like this one's pretty adult themed as well, and I'm okay with it. I'm not against it, but I don't know if I need it either in my game. But I've heard a lot of great things about Kingdom Death Monster, I guess, so I'd give it a try, just because. It's not my kind of game, but sure, give it a try. All right, the last few we're going to look at here on the list today. Starting with number 85 is The Crew, Quest for Planet 9, the first The Crew game. I like this one. It's a cooperative trick taker, and I grew up playing trick takers. I really like spades and euchre. I still play them on my phone all the time. So a cooperative trick taking game is, if you got a group of people who are good at trick taking, you can really get through this one. Everybody knows what they're doing. If you've got to teach someone trick taking, you might want to start them off with something else first. Although this one does have a nice little introduction to how this specific game plays. But after you get past the first few introductory scenarios, it hurts if you got people who just aren't that good at trick-taking games. You kind of want this to not be your first trick-taking game, even if it does hold your hand for a little bit. Because I've experienced that with one of my groups, trying to teach them trick-taking while trying to teach them the crew. It didn't always work, and it led to more table talk than you're supposed to have, and things like that, or people giving up thinking, this can't be done, when really it needs to play out a certain way, sure, but it can be done in theory, and you should at least give it a try. But that's that. Number 94, Mechs versus Minions. Cooperatively program and pilot your mechs. I haven't played this one. Reading that, it sounds like Quirky Circuits a bit, which I have played, where you cooperatively take turns laying out actions of robots on a board, and then you see kind of how those actions play out after everybody decides they're done. So if that's similar, I'm interested in it. I guess I'm interested in it either way. Again, I don't know much about it, but sounds fun. I like cooperative games. I kind of like programming games. Geez, like I mentioned Quirky Circuits was fun, lightweight. What's the one I can't think of? Cold Express was really enjoyable, and that wasn't cooperative. So I'd be interested in giving Mechs versus Minions a try for sure. I mentioned Agricola earlier today and said it might show up later. And this is a revised edition. I don't know which edition I've got. I got a used one I've played once. You got to feed your people. And maybe I need to play it more and get used to it. It's okay. It was a fine play, worker placement, feed your people, take actions, and try to make the best of your resources and managing them. Solo, I was really only playing against myself, so I can't imagine what it's like when other players get in the way of what you're trying to do and just make it harder by taking up the spots you're eyeballing. So I don't know. I don't know the difference. I know we're going to talk about the regular edition in a later date as well. I'm pretty sure it's higher on this list. And that's another thing about the Board Game Geek list. I don't like that it includes the same game multiple times. I wish there was just a way to like blanket them together as this is the Agricola games, and it takes one spot based on the average of those games, or whatever the case is. I hate the fact that I'm going to re-talk about some of these games over and over again. And that includes games I do like too, by the way, such as Wingspan I mentioned earlier. Just throw all the Wingspan games into one Wingspan catch-all. I don't like the fact I'm going to talk about Wingspan. I think Europe and Wingspan leader in this list as well. And that's a game I do like. Agricola I like well enough, but not a lot. I have to play more, I guess. Another thing I don't care for is the stack of cards. You get a certain number of cards, and those are your cards for the whole game. There's no changing them up, trading them out. So hopefully they mesh well for what you want to do. Otherwise, you just kind of stuck with them, or you ignore them. Whatever the case is, I don't like when there's stacks of cards and no way to get to them. That bothers me in a game, and I can't think of other games that really do that. Usually, if there's decks of cards that you use in the game, there are ways to get those cards. But that's me. I'll play it more now that I have it. Number 82, the second to last one we're going to talk about on this list is The White Castle. This game I really enjoy. It's dice drafting actions, and you're really trying to manage combos in this game. You want to get yourself to a point where you've got the resources and the actions and the capabilities to take an action that combos another action that combos another action, and you get 3 or 4 actions on one turn, because this is a game where you got 3 or 4 rounds of 3 or 4 turns. You have like 12 turns the whole game. So the more you can manage getting the most out of each of those turns, the better you're going to do. I just really enjoy those type of games. White Castle, a small box that packs a big punch. One of my favorites for sure. Also on my top 50. And finally, finishing up today's discussion with Android Netrunner. I have not played this one. I don't know much about it either. A game of cat and mouse. Okay. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I've heard of it. Obviously, it's been around for a while, and that's all I know. I couldn't even guess on how this one plays out. I haven't looked into it that much at all. So let me know in the comments below about Android Netrunner or any other games I don't know much about. Thumbs up if you like this video. I will be back again next month to talk about numbers 80 to 61. So if you want to see that one, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell to get notified, and all the YouTube things. Do the YouTube things, and then you'll see me again. Anyway, I hope you like this video, and I will catch you next time.